Beautiful peoples, welcome. Welcome to Hood Philosophy, where we're going to discuss and maybe even answer some of life's biggest questions in a way that clicks with people from all walks of life, eh? So we talk about the hood cats, the single mums, maybe even the dads that only get to see their kids every now and again, people struggling with addiction, mental health issues, people that have disabilities, people sleeping rough, the working class, people that don't usually listen to something like this. Today's episode is the second part of a two-part series on taking the leap. But first, I'd just like to give thanks to all you beautiful peoples. I want to send love out to all you beautiful peoples. Thank you for taking the time to watch and listen to Hood Philosophy. We're on a journey. It's going to be a long journey, I trust. Uh, Again, I ask you fellas to bear with me. So the second episode, I wasn't happy with, but that's how we learn, right? So what I did wrong in that episode was this is so I'm actually recording this straight after the second episode. So what I think where I think I went wrong with the second one was I tried to have too much structure. I think I thought about it too much, and that was my mistake, right? Sometimes we ruminate, but I don't think I was ruminating. I like to be prepared. This is something that I care about, so I want to be prepared. But I think I thought about being prepared too much. Whereas for the first one, I just let it come. One thing that I am happy about is my engagement with the camera in the last episode. I thought that was pretty cool. You're gonna see. I did clip a little bit. I'm not sure why. I should have just kept it going. So that I apologize for. I think it would have been interesting for you fellas to see where I was going when I did lose my train of thought, but I got overwhelmed. Oof. I don't often get overwhelmed. I like to think of myself as cool, calm, and collected because my work, the work that I do, I've been, involved in some incidents that are pretty fucking hectic. We'll get into them further down the track, but now's not the time. I'd just like to shout out the brother Tim for letting me use his setup again. He's yeah, the bro lives across the road from me, and I should probably tell you a little bit about Tim. So Tim's a good man. When he moved in the estate, so whilst I grew up in Anala, I live in Greenbank now, and I live in an estate. When I first moved here, absolute culture shock. Oof. It was like moving to the Hamptons. People still look at me like, what the fuck are you doing here? Bah, I don't care about that anymore. I'm very comfortable with who I am. So back to Tim. I've known Tim for going on 3 and a bit years, I'm pretty sure. And me and Tim have a little bit of history. You could say that I've taken Tim under my wing and shown him a few things. And he's been pushing hard. I'll keep pushing him harder. Don't you worry about that, Mr. Tim. Um, but yeah, he's he's a good man. He's always there to help. He's got a high energy, and it's a beautiful energy what he puts out there in the world. He's and he'll be taking the leap soon. He's going to be finishing up with his job, and he's looking at working with people. And yeah, I dare say he's going to do quite a decent job just because the brother seems to love people like, and people seem to love him, and that's something that clicks with the job that we do. You got to love people, otherwise, what the fuck are you there for? You know. It's a big, and that's something I have to touch on. Please, support workers, we we have a massive responsibility. The scope of the responsibility, I believe, most support workers don't understand. It doesn't matter how long your shift is, whether it be 3 hours or 72 hours. Your client's hand life is in your hands, eh? Never forget that. Never, never forget that. Never like underestimate the scope of the responsibility that we have as support workers. I don't like the word support worker. We do more than support. We mentor, we guide, we lead, we teach, we lift up, we praise. And you're gonna hear lots about me being a support worker. That's passion and purpose right there, aligned, and it's beautiful. Back to the bro, Tim. So Tim kind of asked me to start pushing him after we had a little bit of an argument. I'm not sure how Tim feels about me speaking about this on here. All good, bro?
All good, bro.
All good, all good. Sweet. Okay, so let's be frank. I sent Tim a message. He didn't get back to me for a few days. To me, this is rude. We had a little bit of a disagreement, but Tim self-reflected a little bit. I self-reflected a little bit, and we came to a compromise. But I set the boundary with Tim, and Tim wasn't a pussy. Like, sorry to use that word, but you know what I mean. Like, he showed a little bit of heart that he could handle that truth and still want to take on some constructive criticism. Criticism's not the right word. Feedback, I guess you could say. The bro just wants to do better and be better, and that's something that I click with. I, I'll help anyone. You know, I I quite often wish that there was someone around to take me under their wing professionally, outside of work. But lucky they didn't. Maybe I wouldn't have ended up doing this because this is cool. And have you fellas noticed? Have you noticed? I'm doing a much better job because not as much structure. Right, the structure's still there. Don't get it twisted. I need structure. It's actually one of my mottos, anthems for life. You want to hear it? You're going to hear it anyway. Routine, structure, consistency. Let me break it down for you. So, routine, right? Everybody knows what routine is. Yep. Same day, same place, same time. That's how it works for me. It's not going to work the same for everybody else. What does that create? Structure. And what do you have to do to maintain this beautiful piece of, whatever you want to call it? Some call it, like the miracle morning routine, like that miracle. Oof, that's powerful. Yeah, lost my train of thought, but that's okay. We're just gonna carry on because it's okay to lose your train of thought. And I'm definitely not nervous now. We've been chatting for a little bit, but yeah, I thought I'd tell you a little bit more about myself. That thought will come back, and we'll go with it. We'll go with it. A little bit more about myself. So, like I said in the last episode, or it might have been the first episode, I see myself as a little bit of a philosopher and a poet. The poet is set in stone. Philosopher, that's obviously very, very questionable. For me, yeah. I've only started taking on that term because people called me it. And obviously I agree. Um, and that's why the show's called Hood Philosophy. The hood part because I'm from the hood, philosophy because I think I'm a philosopher. I'm writing about these topics all day, every day. Let me tell you, like, oh, what do you guys think? Should I have my writings around me? You know, would that be inspiring, or is that cheating? That's an interesting one, eh? Because I spend probably, we'll say, between definite 20 minutes to 40 minutes every single day writing, and we're writing on all these topics that we're going to discuss in on this show, this beautiful show that we called Hood Philosophy. Yeah. So, what are some of them topics? So, we started with taking the leap, and I thought taking the leap can go straight into like our fear of failure. Where's our fear of failure going to take us? Who knows? But I'm going to go with my gut. Yeah. Why do I think I'm a philosopher? So I have this horseman theory about what we chase in life. I'm just going to introduce it because I think it's quite interesting. And it's love, wealth, hope, um, beauty, and happiness. So, what do I mean when I say love? So, the notion of fairy tale love, right? Like, it's where, it's all waterfalls and butterflies and rainbows, like what society's told us, what the movies have told us, what the TV series, like all the TV shows have told us. That notion of love. I don't I don't see that as love. For me, that's when two people love each other in that sense, that's more alignment. That's respect. They've they've converged, right? To me, love is lust. I'm not gonna get too into it right now. Don't worry, we're gonna get into it further down the track. And then we got hope. So for me, it goes despair, hope, faith. Oh, despair, hope, action, faith. So hope is it's hopeful, right? It's nice. Like we hope for something. But where does that come from? A place of despair. What used to be despair. And we're going to get into hope as well. Beauty, like you can see where I'm going with that one. Um, Happiness, so fleeting moments. See, that's what I see love as, like society's notion of love as like a fleeting moment of lust, like, and happiness is the biggest one for me. A fleeting moment of happiness. Nah, for me, that that doesn't click. And that's my horseman theory. So they're all the things that I believe we chase in this life when we should be worried about alignment, contentment. I think contentment is probably the right word. So some people would define that as happiness, and yeah, like I guess there's an argument for that because it's it is what you make it. When when you're of that mindset, you find the beauty in the beast, and that's powerful. Is it happiness? No, I don't think so. But many would argue so. Yeah. Why else do I think I'm a philosopher? I can play devil's advocate with myself. I like to ask these questions, not just of myself, of everybody around me. Um, if if we're lucky enough to ever have a conversation, you'll get my drift. I'll break down your walls. I'll hit you where it hurts, but I'll do it so subtle that you might not even notice. Um, I have a way of articulating. some of these issues in ways that others can't. And I can articulate to, I believe, everybody, like when everybody hears me speak, they understand. It might not click with them, but they understand. Do you get what I mean? So yeah, I'm a philosopher, a poet. So how long have I been a poet for? Since last October? No, the start of December. How did I become a poet? I told myself that I was going to spend 5 to 10 minutes on poetry every single day. That was me taking the leap, and I think this is a good way to ease ourselves into the the rest of taking the leap. How we go about taking the leap. Um, I made it easy for myself. So 5 to 10 minutes on my poetry, and I set myself the goal of 50 poems by the end of this December. You know how many poems I got? I got over 300 poems. Isn't that fucking insane? Because it's like, it's a habit, right? It's work. But sometimes the mind is flowing, and you rhyming, and you want to tell a story. Maybe it's something that happened that day. Maybe it's something that happened 20 years ago. Maybe there's some self-reflection or some discovery that's gone on, and I'm feeling creative, because I'm not a very creative person. That's I guess, my way of my creative expression. But then you heard the poem on the last episode. It hits you here, right? That's where I want to hit you. See, with my poetry, I start with I start with a bang, central message, and I'll come full loop, full loop, full loop, full loop, full loop, bang! I'll hit you. I'll hit you right in the heart. You know why I do that? I want to make you think. And that's where philosopher and poet converge. And as you get to hear more of my poetry, you understand what I mean. But yeah, it's been beautiful. So I send out a morning message every morning, and it's such a blessing being able to do that. Quite a few people get the morning message. That's just me sending out my love, sending out my blessings, sending out my gratitude. Shouting out the beautiful people's on some of the goals that they achieve, or sometimes they're going through hard times. That's what the morning message is about. Is sending love out to the people's, lifting people's up. Sometimes you wake up and you're shitty. I read, and don't get it twisted. Lots of people get the message, and it's it's crazy, eh? Like, even if one person reads it out of that, however many people it is, that's beautiful. That's love I sent out there. Even if the people don't read it, they know Z sending out that love, because that's what Z does every single fucking morning. That's something that I don't miss. I can't miss. I got to send that love out there, and I do. Like, don't get it twisted. I do it to help others, but I do it for myself too, because I believe in the notion of what you send out into this world, it's gonna come back, eh? Like, and it does. I'm blessed with beautiful friends, a beautiful community, a community that I help create. That's that's something. That's something, and that makes me remember to shout out the Nothing But Love podcast. We threw down 2 episodes on the Thursday just gone. That was good fun. But yeah, all right. So taking the leap. How do we take the leap? You know how? What do you do when you start something? You start, right? That's the biggest one. Start. Easier said than done. Okay, I'm gonna get into that. All right, you with me? I am gonna get into that. But there's a step before that 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 is important, and it only really came to me today. And there's you got to make the leap the priority. See, when that word was created by the Latins, I think might have been the Greeks. Probably should have checked that one. There was no priorities. It was priority. What is your priority? Sounds funny when I say it like that. Eh? Come on now. But yeah, so you got to make it your priority. How do you do that? Like, really? How do you make something your priority? You learn about it. You you research the shit out of it. You work out what you can control, what you can't control. You get prepared. You know what you do? You break it down. You break it down. But we're not going to get to that because that's how you actually like actually take the leap. We're going to get to that. Don't worry. Bear with me. Priority. You got to make it a priority, okay? The leap, it's got to be your end all be all, right? Like that's, and I don't mean like let it overwhelm you or overwhelm your life. Like, yeah, make sure you're realistic. When you think you're ready to make it a priority, it has to be realistic. Like, don't quit your job when you got 3 kids and you need to keep working, right? I had to wait six weeks to leave my job. That's the time frame that I set, and it was 6 weeks. Isn't that crazy? But I got kids, like I got bills to pay. I I had to do what I was doing until I sorted out more work, and then look what that got me. I dead set. Like now I'm waiting on the work, even though it should all be set in stone. But you know what happens? Life happens. Stiff shit, Z. It'll only make me stronger. But yeah, make it a priority. Okay. Sometimes I know sometimes it's hard. But if your excuse and I know that's a little bit harsh, but at the end of the day, like excuse, justification, whatever you want to call it, I make them all the time, but I'm doing better. I make less of them, and that should be the focus. But that's what they are. Time is an excuse for your priority. It's your priority. That's your end all be all. That's your livelihood. Oh, that's right. Sorry, my apologies. I lost that train of thought. Realistic. It has to be realistic. Okay, like if you got tons of debt and you want to start a business venture, well, how are you going to service that business venture when you got tons of debt? Is that like a financially responsible decision? And I wouldn't call myself financially responsible, but we're slowly getting there. Isn't that cool? That's yeah. I'm actually up to date with my taxes and all. You could almost say I took the leap. Anyway, realistic. What what do you need to take the leap? Let's keep it real. What do you need? Resilience, confidence, and a bit of self esteem. Eh? How do you build the last two? Building your resilience. Once you get to work on building your resilience, the confidence and the self esteem naturally come. Okay, how do you build your resilience? By doing things that are a little bit hard. Not not so hard that they overwhelm you, but a little bit challenging because you want to what I call prime the brain and get it used to doing hard things. And it doesn't have to be like don't make it too hard for yourselves. Don't make it too big for yourselves because we're going to get to this, right? Like the concrete steps. I talk shit. Concrete steps. You will take away what you want from this, I guess. But resilience, okay? You need to just keep doing hard things. What kind of hard things? Things you don't want to do. So the things you've been putting off, start with the little things. Find the little things like I have to cancel a gym membership that I've been paying since just before Christmas. That I don't even go to this gym, and I pay for another gym membership. Why I need to go get that done tomorrow? So like that's a little thing. See, I'm forever building resilience, right? Because like you get home, you've done long hours, you're tired, but this is what I'm getting at. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, right? If you want to build that resilience to have that confidence to take the leap, then you got to do these little things, these hard things, and oh, you know what else you got to stop doing? I just realized then what we were talking about before. You got to stop making excuses. Whew. It's a tough one, isn't it? Yeah. You got to stop making excuses. We can't keep banging on about how we got no time, too busy, not enough money, because there's always alternatives and different options that, yeah, you know what I mean? Because it's not just resilience, right? When you take the leap, that shit's courageous. That's bravery in real time, you know? Because taking the leap, it's fucking scary. I'm gonna keep it real with you. Like I'm not getting it twisted. Shit's scary. And let me tell you fellas right now, like I say all this with just love, no judgment. I ain't got no right to judge anybody. You'll learn that in due time. But resilience, confidence, self-esteem, these are the big ones. Then the bravery and courage will come. How do you build that resilience? By doing hard things. What do I mean by hard things? I mean things that aren't too hard. You know what I mean? Like, say you're learning to play the guitar. Well, you just want to learn the first chord rather than all four chords at the same time. Do you get what I mean? And that way, the brain's clicking with that. It's not becoming overwhelmed, because that's what creates the emotions that we elicit: the fear, the anxiety, the panic, the freaking out. That's all because the body is overwhelmed. When we experience these emotions, that's the body being overwhelmed. That's the brain being overwhelmed. That's the body, everything, and it's been thrown out of whack. And we've got to come back to center. And that's very important to keep in mind. Coming back to center, especially when we are engaging in building that resilience and doing the hard things. It's frustrating as fuck. But we've got to stop making excuses. We're adults. We don't get the cop out, you know? Like, look at the way we teach our kids. We tell them to do shit. Sometimes we don't even show them. How the fuck are they going to do shit if they don't know how to do shit? If they're not shown how to do shit, they can't do shit. That's why I can't do shit. I love my parents, you know, power to them, but I can't do shit, and that's for a reason. And I'm not perfect. No, 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 no. The next big mission is camping. We're gonna take the leap. Oh shit! You just can come on that journey with me. Not on the camping journey, but the taking the leap journey. Oh, if I must say, butterflies in the stomach. Even just thinking about it. I wouldn't say I'm a camper. I'm a resorter. You know this. Oh, we're gonna take a quick break. Love you, fellas. Beautiful peoples, welcome back. So I was just talking about my next really, really big leap, which will be camping with the boys. And now that I've said it on here, I've got to follow through. Got to practice what I preach. No, can't fuck around with that one. Anyway, I think it's time to chat about how I go about taking the leap. And I dare say there's a couple things that you could probably take away from this. The first thing I'd like to say is start. And I know how that sounds. Easier said than done, right? But you know how you start? You want to break down the first step. The first step. What's the first step? So, say for example, looking for a new job. What's the first step? Well, you got to dust off the old resume, isn't it? Maybe the first step's not even changing the old resume. It's just getting it out. That's the first step. That's you telling yourself you've started the process, you've started the journey. And how easy was that? Do you see what I mean? All right. The first step. How else can we talk about this one? The gym. The gym. So lots of us find it very hard to stay consistent with the gym. How do we break this one down? How? We go for 5 minutes. That sounds ludicrous, right? But after a week of going for 5 minutes is easy. All of a sudden it's 10, then it's 15, then it's half a decent workout. And, and please, lots of people get decent workouts done in 30 minutes. I tell you right now, I get me a decent workout in 30 minutes. But do you see what I'm saying? Because with that first step, if you're consistent and you show up every day, you can turn that into a small win once the brain's primed, right? Once the brain understands that that's something easy. Wake up, go to the gym, 5 minutes. That's all you got to do. But you got to show up every single day. You got to show that consistency. And that can be very hard. And see that, and that's why I was talking about before. We've got to stop making excuses, because you can't be consistent and disciplined, which ties into the consistency, because it's a natural result of the consistency. You can't be consistent and make excuses, because it's your life. Who are you making excuses to? Yourself at the end of the day. Even when you're voicing it to other people, you're making excuses for yourself, to yourself. And if we want to take the leap and actually get shit done, that means we have to be accountable to ourselves. See what I mean about how it all ties in? Look, you know, you got routine, structure, consistency, accountability, discipline. And then before we were talking about resilience, confidence, self-esteem. So like, don't stop separating everything. Take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Okay. I don't like the way I say it, okay. Sounds a little bit okay. Yeah, I got a tooth missing. Look after them teeth. Nah, mine didn't get punched out. Haha. I thought about a gold tooth or a silver tooth, but we won't go there. No point. We're talking about taking the leap. Yeah. So take that first step. What's another example? What's another example? Is say you want to train for a 5K run, but you've never walked the block before. What's your first step? Walk the block. No, no. It's to walk to the roundabout. You know, like putting your shoes on for someone that's never gone for the walk before. That's the win. That's the small win. And that's going to lead, once you've primed the brain that that's easy. Bang, you walk to the third roundabout, and you do that for another, 10 days. Everybody will tell you a different amount of days, but if you flip the script in your head, which ties into all this, then the world is your oyster. Okay? If you turn I can into I will or I have to, oof. Did you hear that? I can into I will into I have to. I can feel that power because that's and you'll quite often hear me talk about flipping the script. That's exactly what that is. And and that's powerful. That's powerful. That's going from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. So from uh, I can't do this to I can do this to I will do this to I have to do this to let's get it done, baby. Like fuck. And yeah, but the only way you can get there is with consistency. All right, how else do we take the leap? We don't get too wrapped up in that fear of failure. Again, easier said than done. But you know something about failure, you learn from it. What do you learn from success? To be an asshole, you know? To buy a nice car. What do you learn from buying a nice car? That's just a machine. A to B, get you around. What do you want with the nice car? That's to impress everybody else. Don't get me wrong. I apologize to all you rev heads and motorheads out there and to the peoples that actually buy their cars because they love their cars. But even then, like for me, it's a machine. But I was just saying to the brother Tim the other day, as when I was outside having a smoke, that the only thing that would break my heart if it was stolen is my writing. Oof, that would shatter me. Shatter me. That'd be heartbreaking. All right, where was I? Where was I? Make it simple. Make it simple. Break it down. Um, control what you can control and focus on the little things. Because the little things, if you can do these little things right, when you step back and you see the bigger picture, it's going to seem so much easier. You know why? Because the little things are what overwhelm us in the heat of the moment. But if you're prepared and you have them little things done, oof, you know, because they're your controllables, right? Everything else is going to hit you. Everything else is going to hit you. I'll be honest, lost my train of thought, but it came back. Ooh. And you know what it came back to? Failure. Sorry about that. Because because we're going to lead into the next episode with why we're so scared of failure. But I'm saying, what do we learn from success? And obviously, I was talking about the cars and like all that stuff. Success. It's a funny word. It's a funny word. I don't like how I explained my horseman philosophy either. So it's because I always write it down, and I know that's completely off topic, but that's how I roll. That's how my brain goes. Bear with me, come with me, walk with me. Let's walk in greatness. See what I mean? Yeah. So failure. What does it teach us? So much. So much. It teaches us everything. What happens before you get to success? You fail and you fail and you fail and you fail and then you fail some more and feel so shit. But think about it, I love how we underscore the level of dedication, commitment, and hard work from those that we admire. From athletes to artists to, if you love the politicians, ain't nobody love politicians. Not even the politically active people. Even they get sick of the politicians. Right. But we're not going to get into that one. Not right now, anyway. But yeah, failure. We got to walk straight into it. We got to flip the script, and we got to tell ourselves we want to fail. What the fuck? What are you talking about, Z? Yeah, I get it. And yes, I talk about myself in the third person. It's actually pretty powerful. Not when it makes you lose your train of thought, but failure. Walking head on into it, flipping the script. Oh, you see it come back very nicely there. Flip the script. All right, tell yourself you want to fail. Tell yourself you want to make mistakes. You know what else you have to tell yourself? You're not going to make the same mistake again. And sometimes you will make it twice. Don't beat yourself up, but make sure you don't make it a third time because that's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. We're adults. We don't get the cop out. We don't get the cop out. That's what we've got to tell ourselves. That's how we stop making excuses. That's how we hold ourselves accountable. Well, let's not talk too much about the fear of failure, otherwise we won't have a next episode. That's not what we want because I know you're enjoying this shit. I'm enjoying this shit. You know? Break down, make it simple. Be prepared. Be realistic. Show up with love. Let go of the ego. That's what that's why you're scared of the failure. And that's why we're scared of taking the leap. So how do we take the leap? Resilience, we need resilience. That builds the confidence and the self-esteem. The confidence and the self-esteem that leads to the first step. And we've got to make it a priority. It's got to be our end all be all. We've got to give a fuck about it. Like the reason I got anxiety before I did this podcast is because I give fucks about it. I want to send that beautiful love out into the world to you beautiful peoples. And I want to do it in a way that's, I don't know, wholesome, as Brother Bryce would say. Wholesome. I want you to feel that love. You feel that love? I reckon you can. And I want you to run with that love. I know I've got off topic here, but like I want you to use that love to push yourselves and challenge yourselves into taking the leap, you know? And not just taking the leap, implementing a new habit. Don't start a whole new routine. Do one thing at a time. Same thing with taking the leap. All it's like a merry-go-round. We just go round, 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 and it all applies to each other. It all applies to each other. We're gonna start wrapping up the show. I'd just like to give thanks, all you beautiful peoples that took the time to listen, to watch, to like, to subscribe. Make sure. Just fuck with this. Not too fussed. If one person watches this, blessing. If 10 people watches this, watch this, even better. I'm not doing this for money. I'm doing this for love. Speaking of heart, I feel like I have to touch on something. I watched Tim Zoo quit yesterday. I was pretty gutted. Some fellas were telling me that he was talking about fighting till the death in the lead up to the fight. I'd just like to say something on that. You know what that is? Some of us got heart, some of us don't. All right. Shout outs. Who am I going to shout out? Who am I going to shout out? My cousin Tawheed from Sydney. He's a real estate agent. Nah, I'm just fucking with you. But he is a real estate agent. He's awesome, man. You could call him the black sheep of the family, and he's doing his best to to be his best, to do good, to be good, to just do better, to send that love out. Love you, cuz. You're a good man. Send my salam in regards to the family. I hope you watch this one as well, which means you have to watch the second one. Make sure you subscribe. Yeah. I like to shout out people. I like to lift people up. I just think there's lots of power in it, in that motivation. I love pushing people. I love pushing people. I love pushing myself. Love it. I like how this episode went. I know we went a little bit over time, but we were having fun, you know. Too much too much but I reckon I did better looking at the camera. So we're gonna finish with a poem. Need my phone for that one. All right. Just gonna pick a random one for you. Okay, let's go. I know I should have picked a one. Oh, I got one for you fellas. Lots of my poems have no names, so if you'd like to name the poems, please don't hold back. All right. I don't read what I write very often. And I dare say now that we're doing the podcast, I'm going to be reading what I've been writing, which is beautiful because I want to reinforce the notions in my head, right? All right, here goes. Are you ready? It's crazy what can grow when a good idea meets greatness, and it all starts to flow. See, that's called compound effect. All it needs is a nudge here and a prod there infused with just a little intellect. Let it come together, soak up the process, and watch all the pieces intersect. Slowly but surely, your vision will become a reality. And all of a sudden, before your eyes, a growing community. Together we rise. No more drama, no more sadness in our eyes. For we've unlocked a beautiful beast within, magnificent in size. It knows no bounds. Love and compassion, they do their rounds. That beast is awakened and it knows no limits. There's no need to grimace, bask in the energy. Don't worry about your legacy. We are all but a speck of dust. Sometimes you just have to trust. Keep the faith in the end. It's all about the long game. Surely, but slowly, it will never be the same. Beautiful peoples. Love you, fellas, eh? Have a blessed day, blessed evening, wherever you're at. Cheers!